For many Americans, the 4 years we spend on a college campus isn't just about continuing our formal education. It's a transition into adulthood. We usually head off to college at the age of 18, and college freshmen are at various stages of independence. What do I mean? Well, some are learning how to do their laundry for the first time. Most have limited cooking skills, but thankfully they'll be okay because they can eat every meal in the dining hall. But all college students have to learn how to manage their own paperwork and schedules and figure out how to get their books and other course materials. On the flip side, college students enjoy their first real taste of independence away from parental supervision, and the 4 years become a time of exploring, experimenting, and growing up. I should mention that college romances have been around for decades. Many find their first true love in college. Have you ever heard the term college sweethearts? These are people who date in college, and some end up getting married after graduation. Truthfully, not everyone is in a rush to start college. Sometimes students opt to take a gap year. Have you ever heard that term? A gap year is when a high school senior gets accepted to college but chooses to defer admission. That is, they postpone it. They put it off for 1 year. There are different reasons why someone would take a gap year. Maybe they want a break from academics. Maybe they want to work and save some money. Some find volunteer work. Often those who take a gap year feel that they need to grow and explore a bit on their own without the demand of college studies. Of course, a gap year makes you 1 year older than the typical freshman, but this small age difference doesn't bother many. Also, you need to be sure you understand the ins and outs of any financial aid received if you defer admission, but there are people who can help you get answers to those questions. Whether you take a gap year or start in the fall immediately after your high school graduation, you'll start getting communication from your school in the spring. Over the summer, many things are decided, like housing and roommates. You get some say in the matter, but in the end, you're either lucky or you're not. Will you be happy with the dorm and roommate assigned to you? Dorm is short for dormitory. A typical American college or university has different dorms for students to choose from. For example, there can be language houses where all the residents study and speak a foreign language. After my freshman year, I chose to live in the Russian house. We all majored or minored in Russian. My son's university has many dorms, and while some have a reputation for hosting parties, there are also residence halls with designated quiet floors. There are also a mix of rooms, singles, doubles, triples, and suites, where a small group of students share a larger living space. Freshmen don't usually get singles because the college wants you to meet people. I lucked out my first year of college because I got a wonderful roommate from Japan. I wrote down my preferences for someone who was organized and relatively quiet. I also wanted a non-smoker. My roommate became a friend for life, and we visited each other's families during breaks. In my final years, I applied for a single room because I valued my privacy, and I still do, by the way. Only 1 year did I get stuck in a tiny room. All the other years, I was in a fairly spacious room. My son hasn't been so lucky with roommates so far. The first one never talked at all, and the second talked a lot, but to his girlfriend on the phone. It can also be a real drag if you and your roommate have different sleep schedules and different kinds of social lives. Some poor students get stuck with roommates who snore. Housing can be limited on some campuses. Upperclassmen might live in apartments off campus. Some universities have turned doubles into economy triples. This means that they cram 3 people into a space originally designed for 2. The students may save a little money by choosing this option, but it's not very comfortable. I've heard how some unfortunate students are squashed into a bunk bed with little headroom below the ceiling. A typical college dorm room has a bed, desk, chair, and closet for each student. You have to provide your own hangers and linens. If you're really lucky, you might have air conditioning, but that's a luxury. Many college students have to get by with fans. A suite often has its own bathroom, but usually there are common bathrooms. For example, on a co-ed floor, there's a bathroom for men and another for women. By the way, co-ed bathrooms are quite normal. At my college, there were women-only dorms, but I actually chose to live in a co-ed dorm, and we had co-ed bathrooms. That was back in the 90s. I think you'll find a mix of setups on American college campuses today. Single-gender and co-ed floors, as well as single-gender and co-ed bathrooms. In the context of campus life, I should mention fraternities and sororities. These are formal student organizations with Greek names, and they have their own residence halls. Fraternities are for men, and sororities are for women. They're largely social in nature and create a sense of community for the members. They do different kinds of community work, and a key benefit is the network you can tap into for the rest of your life. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie Legally Blonde. There's a whole process of recruiting and joining. I'll just note that some students strongly desire the so-called Greek life, while others are completely fine without it. Whether you live on or off campus, moving in can be a chaotic experience, and for first-year students and their families, it might be especially overwhelming. The bigger the school, the more people moving in at the start of the year. Students are flying in and driving in. Some bring their own cars and pay for parking. Others are dropped off by their parents. A typical move-in day means a lot more local traffic. Parked cars are everywhere as students unload all their stuff. Some, particularly the ladies, haul extra furniture, rugs, decorations, and tons of clothes to their small dorm rooms. A good number of students choose to buy or rent mini fridges for their rooms. But a typical college dorm will have a small kitchenette somewhere, as well as a common room for socializing. Incidentally, the amenities vary. Every common room has a TV, but some common rooms have pool and ping pong tables. Back at my college, every dorm had a piano. What do you think college students should have access to? Do you know that most universities have really amazing gyms? With rock walls, badminton courts, a range of exercise equipment, and swimming pools, some college campuses look like a resort. Well, let's get back to the start of the year. Eventually, the process of moving in ends, the parents leave, and the students are finally on their own. Orientation week starts for new and first-year students. Everyone probably has registered for their fall courses, but there's usually a 2-week period when students can add or drop courses. Then everyone settles in and studies. Within the first week, students figure out where their classes are and how to schedule their meals. Finding your way is part of the process of learning how to navigate life on your own. The bigger the campus, the easier it is to get lost initially, especially if you rely on buses, trains, or shuttles. I went to a small liberal arts college, but we had a strong bi-college community. Every day I took a bus to attend some of my classes at another college campus about 10 minutes away. That meant I had 2 campuses to figure out, but I enjoyed the change of scenery. Choosing a college is a big decision. Where you study and live for 4 years affects many aspects of your life: academics, friendships, future job opportunities, and more. Not everyone stays at the same institution for all 4 years. Some end up transferring to another school for different reasons. Others choose to get their degree online today. But the majority of American college students are seeking a rich campus experience, and that's why so much time and effort is invested in making the best choice for them. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this topic. You can access the full transcript and download the PDF as a free member of my English with Jennifer community on Patreon. Visit my website to learn how to join, englishwithjennifer.com. Thanks for listening and happy studies.